How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, it feels strange getting back into it, to be honest, after 2 and a bit weeks. But I've just spent the last 45 minutes to an hour just writing out this story, which is in relation, as you can see from the title, about a terrorist that's been slashed just last Wednesday in Strangeways prison, or HMP Manchester. I'm going to put a link in the description as always, guys, so you can browse it at your own leisure, should you guys choose to. So anyway, let's get into it, guys. So the headline is: terrorist who encouraged attacks on the Trafford Centre has his face slashed in Strangeways. Hussein Rashid was jailed this month after admitting to a string of terror offences. Prison bosses are investigating after a terrorist was reportedly slashed in the face in HMP Manchester. Hussein Rashid was jailed this month after admitting to a string of terror offences, including encouraging attacks on the Trafford Centre, which is it's just down on the M6 there. It's one of the biggest shopping centres in the UK, and I think it's one of the biggest in Europe as well. And also on Prince George, who's obviously Prince William's and Princess, whatever she's called, Kate's son. The 34-year-old from Nelson in Lancashire was attacked in Strangeways prison on Wednesday, reports suggest. They said in a statement, a prisoner received hospital treatment for minor injuries following an incident at HMP Manchester on Wednesday, July the 25th. An investigation is taking place. Rashid, who used the highly encrypted communication app Telegram to post instructions on how to poison fruit in supermarkets with cyanide, was arrested following a raid on his home in November last year. The Islamic State fanatic tried to flee police. He ran out of the back door and threw his mobile phone high into the air to avoid being found with it in his possession. But it landed right at the feet of an officer who had surrounded the house and contained a treasure trove of evidence, the court heard. Mobile phones owned by Rashid were found to have text messages on them between him and the Islamic State news agency Amaq. Speaking after sentencing, Chief Superintendent Will Chatterton from Counter-Terrorism Policing Northwest said, Rashid was a prolific poster on Telegram, a messaging and media platform which prides itself on never having provided law enforcement agencies with any user data. Rashid had spent the past 18 months locked away in a bedroom of his parents' house where he had made links with known Islamic State members and spent hours making online posters and propaganda encouraging would-be terrorists to carry out the most gruesome of attacks. Rashid was developing his magazine called Lone Mujahideen, which could be described as a sort of e-toolkit for a would-be lone wolf attackers. He is a prolific and dangerous individual. He has never been forthcoming with information about all of the attacks he suggested, but we work closely with agencies across the world to share the intelligence that we had. We believe that Rashid was days away from travelling to Syria and are in no doubt that he would have continued to encourage others and promote his ideology. Today, Rashid has been sentenced to life in prison and will spend at least 24 years behind bars. He will no longer be able to spread hate and encourage senseless harm and killing. Today, the world is just a little bit safer. Right now, obviously, having been in Strangeways myself and stuff, it's a ruthless prison. Really is ruthless and stuff. And obviously, he's been slashed. There's many reasons he could have been slashed, but one would assume that it's because he's a terrorist. He's just been convicted, and obviously a lot of people in Strangeways or it's known as a local jail, so a lot of people from Manchester, Salford, you've got Scousers in there because of obviously Alt Course and Walton lockout regularly. Lockout means they don't accept prisoners. It's also from Burnley Crown Court as well. Burnley Crown Courts, you can go to Strangeways, you can go to Forest Bank, and you can also go to Preston Prison as well. Like I say, the fact he's been slashed and stuff, many different ways. You get prison razors, which have got one razor in. You can jimmy it out with a plastic knife, because the knives are quite strong actually. You can get the thing out, melt it into like a toothbrush, and then just used it to slash the face. I don't know what that noise was about then. But yeah, you can use it to slash faces and stuff like that. Prisons are ingenious at making weapons and stuff. This guy, as long as he's in prison, obviously he's got a 24-year minimum sentence, or they call it life, but the actual, it's not actually life sentence, it's just called a life sentence. A whole life tariff is actually a life sentence, meaning you're never eligible for parole. And you'll actually die in prison and stuff. So 24-year minimum. Whilst he's in prison, he'll end up being in several different prisons over the 24 years, of course. He will be attacked by prisoners and stuff. You've got, whether it be through patriotic Brits that just want to attack him because of his crimes, or it's like a far-right like supporter, like an EDL supporter and stuff that are in prison with him, or just because you've got prisons that are racially high, and like racism goes on within prisons. Radicalisation is a big thing within prison, because the last comment that was made from the chief superintendent was, it says here, he will no longer be able to spread hate and encourage senseless harm and killing. But that's not necessarily true, is it? Because just because he's locked up for 24 years, Muslims run with Muslims in prison. Scousers run with Scousers in prison. If you've got Scousers in a Manx prison, the Scousers will run together. If you've got Manx in a Scouse prison, the Manx will run together. It goes on that way, guys, right? It's very cliquey prison. Anyone that's been in prison will know what I'm talking about in that regard. So he's actually, right, yeah, he's locked up for 24 years, but say that he's locked up with a kid that's got 12 months left, a Muslim and stuff, and he might be quite impressionable and stuff, and vulnerable and easily led. And then this Hussein Rashid, he can actually work on him, plant his ideology into his head so that he could carry out an attack upon release. And that goes on, guys. It really, really does and stuff. Like I say, there's problems there are problems with like radicalisation within prisons and stuff. I mean, the Ministry of Justice, they've opened these jihadi prisons, a prison within a prison. Now, the thing is, there's far more terrorists in the prison system than there are prison spaces on these jihadi wings and stuff. And they go on, oh, we're going to stop this. They can't stop, right, they're going on about stopping words and scripture. They can't stop physical items like mobile phones, drugs, drones, and everything else supplying prisons. So how are they going to stop words and thoughts, guys? Simple than not. It's as simple as that. The fact he's being slashed and stuff, good. Absolutely great. And the thing is as well, I'm actually obviously anti-police and stuff, because as a former criminal that's been stitched up by the police, I'm anti-police. But in this regard, when they're saving people's lives, we've seen here in Manchester, I mean, this kid was only up in Nelson, which is near like Burnley way, yeah. And like I say, we've seen in Manchester with the attack in the Manchester Union Arena at the what's it called, something Grande, when the attack at Arania Grande, the attack that took place there. You've seen like attacks take place in London and stuff. So it's a very real threat and stuff. And the security services and the police have actually saved life in this regard. I mean, like they said, it was a few days. They believe that it was a few days away from travelling to Syria. I'm in no doubt that he would have continued to encourage others and promote his ideology. Now, there it says there, continue to encourage others and promote his ideology. He can do that in prison, guys. If he's in prison, he could, like I say, right, he's locked behind bars for 24 years, but he can work on others and stuff. If you're walking through the streets of Manchester or London or Birmingham or Newcastle, wherever you're from, and you see someone like preaching religion at you, right, you can walk past them or walk away. In prison, you're actually locked on the wing with that person. If it's a Muslim, they might be sharing a cell with that person. And he can repeatedly, unless he's been put as high risk and he's got a single cell restriction, but he can then he can plant that seed every day in that prisoner's head, right, on the wing, and keep working on him, plant that seed and hope that it grows. And like I say, it goes on within prisons. Being in prison and the way that we're treated as prisoners and stuff, we're treated like animals. Now, all those on the right side of traction, oh, you're in prison, you deserve to be treated like shit and stuff. But by brutalising prisoners, you only succeed in dehumanising, demoralising, desensitising, and actually making the person more disenfranchised than when they entered the system. So like I say, there's a lot of hatred there and stuff like that. So by Rashid being in prison, is it going to stop him spreading his word and stuff and trying to plant that seed of his ideology and his attack and the mentality he's got? Absolutely not. But yeah, guys, like I say, the security and the police have done a great job in this regard. I'm quite anti-police. Well, I'm very anti-police, but they've done a good job in stopping this attack. He's obviously a dangerous individual, and he sounded like he was going to act upon what he was trying to preach as well to others and stuff with this. Like I said, he set up his own magazine, didn't he, called the Lone Mujahideen, which, like I said, it's described as a sort of an e-toolkit for a would-be lone wolf attackers. So he was going to carry out an attack himself and also trying to share this with Islamic State, and he made contact with known Islamic State members, and he was in contact with the media of the Islamic State, this Amaq news agency and stuff. So he's obviously a very dangerous individual that was going to act on his beliefs and stuff like that. And it's a very, I'm sweating like a pig, man, serious. But yeah, so that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it here, guys. I'm rambling on. I'm a bit rusty, guys. I've had like 2 and a bit weeks off, so yeah, I'm not at my sharpest right now. But let me know what you think about the video. I'll put a link in the description below. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you all soon. Cody out.